Well, hi everyone. It's Andy in the Boomer TV studio, and the season continues now with Darla Noble and Phenomenal Families. Join our awesome Bloomer Boomer community and platform featuring live programs like today, all about living the best life you can after 55. On today's show, Darla talks about being a caregiver to your spouse, parent, or grandparent, and then she's going to be focusing on giving through the holidays. And now, welcome Darla Noble and Phenomenal Families.
Hello, everyone from Southwest Missouri. It's so nice to be with everyone again. Yes, Andy is right. Last week, we kind of finished up our series on being caregivers, but I am going to kind of transition into that and include part of that because we know now that we are into the Christmas holiday that there's going to be a lot of things different this year and a lot of things we have to take into consideration that we haven't had to do before. And so when I talked to some people and told them that what this was going to be about today, they were like, oh, be sure and tell them about this and be sure and say this and be sure and say that. So we've got a lot of things I want to cover today to get some questions answered that I know are probably on your mind, since they were on so many people that I talked to, on the minds of so many people I talked to. So to make the transition a little smooth, let's talk about if we have an elderly parent or a spouse that is in need of care, full-time care, or especially with dementia. If you have that to deal with in your home, on top of all the festivities of Christmas, I'm just going to say, keep it simple, okay? Don't expect too much of yourself. And the people that are going to be with you, if anyone is actually in your home this year, the people that you would spend the holidays with, they understand because your loved one is more than likely their loved one too. So don't expect too much of yourself. Don't try to do more than you are capable of doing. It's just not worth it. Not worth it for you and not worth it for them as well. It just causes more stress than is necessary for you and for the person who is needing care and who is suffering from dementia. But now let's transition out of that into just general in terms of family celebrations over the holidays this year. We know they're going to be very different. Thanksgiving was different for many of us, for most of us, and Christmas will be as well. I'm going to encourage you to reach out in ways that maybe you haven't done so much. We're home a lot more, right? So we have the opportunity to get back to something that has kind of died out over the past few years that I think needs to really be brought back. And that is the tradition of Christmas cards. Guys, there are so many people out there who are lonely, who have not been able to have human contact, who have not been able to get out and about or be with their family, their loved ones, their grandkids, their kids, even a lot of people that are not with their spouses because one of them is in a care facility, or maybe they are the one in the care facility. Send a card. Send a handwritten card with a handwritten note, especially for them, letting them know that you are thinking about them, that you love them, that you care for them, and that they are on your heart and mind this holiday season. And you know what? Just I dare you to say that you don't enjoy getting these cards too. So let's get back to that. You've got extra time at home. So do that, okay? They don't have to be fancy, expensive cards, even if you just have some nice stationery, and you write a letter, and get a Christmas stamp, or just even a plain letterhead, plain paper that you write on. It's okay. Just get to that note, that personal handwritten note. Okay. Um, Holiday decorations. I'm going to encourage you to decorate your home, make it festive, even if it is just you and your spouse, or you and one or two of your kids or grandkids or a neighbor this year. You need that festivity. You need to be able to look at that and have those special things cheer you up. If you're like me, I love those themed trees. They're so pretty and they're fun to look at, but I would never have one in my house. My theme is memories. Every ornament on my tree holds a special memory. Um, and and we need those things this year to remind us that things aren't all bad, that life is not all as and panicky and regimented as they want us to have it be. There are great things and great memories that we can hold on to, that we can think on, that we can cherish this holiday season. When it comes to uh, gift giving, again, there are a lot of ways, a lot of things that we are not going to be able to do that we would normally have done. I, for one, have really been in a quandary this year. I really had to rethink things because over the past couple, 3 years since my grandkids have started getting to be able to the stage of being able to actually do things, um, I have not been giving as many tangible gifts. I've been giving experiences. Like, for instance, we spent last year, one of my granddaughters was really wanting to experience what it was to go horseback riding. So one day she and I went to a stable, and this was prior, about a week prior to Christmas, or a few days really. And we spent the day for her to have a riding lesson, and to her to spend learning about horses and riding horses and just different things like that. And that was her main gift. Now they are still young enough, and we all like to have something to open. So they did have a couple little things to open, on Christmas Day. But their main gift is experience. We've done pottery. We've done, just like the fun places, like the indoor amusement things, the arcades and things like that. There was one of my granddaughters that just loves to do things like that. So, but this year we cannot do those things. So many of those things are closed, or we can't take them places. Kids, they're just not open, or it's just not wise. So you're going to have to go back a lot of times to gifts, tangible gifts, and maybe there's not a lot of places to shop. And if you live someplace like I do, some of the places are open, but they don't have the product on the shelves. It's hard for them to get product. So you're going to have to get creative in your gift giving. But you know what? And if you read my book, Please Pass the Memories, I have a couple of chapters dedicated to family keepsakes and how to turn those into gifts and make them something special. And here I'm going to talk about your kids and your grandkids. Let's start with your kids first. If you're like me, you had, and I say had because I've already done this, you had you have a whole collection of your kids' school trophies and awards and artwork and, keepsake mementos of their childhood. Okay, guys, it's time to give them back to them. Okay, give them back their childhood. Go to someplace like Hobby Lobby and get one of those fancy little boxes, or and when I say little, I mean, fairly, like miniature trunk size, like, 2 by 2 or something like that, or whatever. But something that you can stick a lot of these things in, and with them put a little note that goes with them, telling what it was and why it was special, because some of the things they won't remember and some of them they will. But give those to your adult children for Christmas. They will love these things. It's their childhood in a box, and they're going to love going through them. I know my kids did. Um, and and then there's other things that you can give. If you have teenage granddaughters or preteen granddaughters, Go through your costume jewelry, your older handbags, or those things that you have that are your parents, their great grandparents. They will love receiving those things. I promise you, they will love receiving. Clean them up, shine them up, put them in a fancy gift wrap. They will adore getting those things, because those things that were really popular then are now popular under the heading of vintage or repurposed or whatever. But they are so in demand by the tweens and teens right now. You will not go wrong in doing that. For the young women in your life, your daughter-in-laws, your young adult daughters, if you have some vintage Pyrex that you're not using, they will love it. That again is very, very popular. They're collector's items. They will enjoy getting those, and go with it. Some old recipes and the ingredients to make the dish. You've got a great gift. Okay. Um, Pictures. Okay. Old family pictures or recipes. Transfer them onto pot holders, dish towels, aprons, that sort of thing. Or if you have your grandchildren, their children's artwork, if you've got some of those things, or snag some of them from your kid's house, ask them for them and transfer those on to pot holders, aprons, dish towels, mini canvases, things like that, and give those to your kids for Christmas. They are going to love them. They're thoughtful gifts, and they don't cost a lot. And in these times when a lot of us have had some changes to our income in a negative downward spiral, you need to maybe watch your pennies. And these are wonderful, thoughtful gifts that everyone will enjoy getting. Okay. Or if your children, your adult children, have always admired grandma's this or that, quilts or dishes or something special, give those as gifts. Okay. I know one year, um, my mom said, I just don't know what to get you for Christmas. I said, I do. I said, you remember those? And I named off a couple, three things that I remembered her using from my childhood, dishes and things that she had not used in 20, 30 years. I said, do you still have those? Yeah. I want that. Wrap them up and give them to me for Christmas. Are you serious? She said. I said, I am very serious. Give those to me. I'm not the oddball out here. A lot of people would love to have those things. And if you've got them sitting around, you're not using them, they're taking up space, give them and let them be put to use and enjoyed again, like you used to, or like your mom and dad or your grandma used to enjoy them. So those are some things as far as gift giving that you can do. Keep it simple, but keep it meaningful. Now, I'm going to stop for just a minute, and I'm going to, number one, I'll ask Andy, do you have any questions? I know I have some, but
Well,
do you
we
have
we have a
questions?
couple. One, let's see. This is from Betty, and she doesn't have a question, but wants to thank you for so many simple ideas.
Okay, well, you're welcome, Betty, and everyone else, because they are simple, but yet they are so, like I said, they're meaningful, and they put things to good use that would otherwise just sit around and collect dust and wait to be sold at an auction someday when you're gone, or your kids would say, "Oh, I wish I know mom still had that. I would have used that." Or your kid or your grandkids, "Oh, I wish I'd have had that when I went to prom or when I was going to school, because everybody would have loved seeing that. And I would have loved wearing that," and that sort of thing. Okay, do you have another
One
question?
more. This is from Joyce. She says that I've been out of work and it's looking that the holidays are going to be on the thrifty side.
Right, right. And there again, this is something you can do to keep things thrifty. You can also do some things. Pinterest is a wonderful place to go for ideas on homemade ornaments. I know for wedding gifts, I love to give young couples who are just getting married, I love to give them a collection of tree ornaments. Some of them I buy, some of them I make, but a whole collection of tree ornaments, because that's not something you think to buy for yourself. And I know on my tree of memories, I have several that were given to me as a wedding gift from 3 or 4 different people that say, first Christmas together and that sort of thing. And some of them don't. Some of them are just, really sweet ornaments. And so make or purchase some inexpensive gift tree ornaments and give to the young couples on your list or the engaged couples on your list. And those make wonderful gifts. Do you have some old blue jeans sitting around? Charlotte wants to get in on things again. Do you have some old blue jeans sitting around? There are lots of things that you can make for kids. Book bags, book covers, placemats. There's things that you can do on skirts that you can make for young kids out of adult jeans. Things like that. A quilt. If you have a quilt that is tattered and not really usable anymore, go against everything you think is sacred and cut it up and make teddy bears or bookmarks or ornaments or pillows or something like that, and give it to people, members of your family or friends or something like that. So there are a lot of ways that you can be thrifty. Now, some of my questions, this first one that I'm going to get to, has nothing to do with gifts. It's more about time and the expectations that you place on your family regarding holidays. And Tammy asked, well, both Liz and Tammy said, we are getting to the point in our families to where more of our kids are married and having their own children. How do we still have Christmas with our family and yet let them have theirs? Oh, listen, I want to tell you, that is something as a grandparent and a mother and father-in-law of adult kids that you need to be very, very respectful and conscious of. Guys, my husband and I really had some high expectations placed on us in our early years of being parents. When our kids were small, of having to be here and there, here and there, here and there. And by that, I mean with both families. And I want to tell you something, that is something I really, before we moved back to my family's farm and we took over to where those expectations were not there on both sides, I wish I would have put my foot down, so to speak, and said, you know what? I'm not doing all that, because my kids really kind of got shortchanged in, okay, here's your presents now. You can play with them next week. We got to go to grandma's and then we got to go here. I don't do that. Don't place those expectations on them. What I would suggest is having, if you really feel like you need to have Christmas every year, have it a day or two or the weekend before or after the holiday. Okay. And then every 2 or 3 years, have your turn at having it on the actual day. I know, of course, this year was really weird altogether, but we're not even having a Christmas celebration. We got together, as many of us who could, which wasn't many, got together the weekend of Thanksgiving, and that was our holiday gathering. Now, next year is going to be a special year for us for several different reasons. So this mama is saying, and this grandma is saying, you know what? I want Christmas Day next year. It'll be the first time in 3 or 4 years that I have said, I want Christmas Day. And so we'll do that, but I don't insist on that every year. And I really advise you not to do so. Your kids need to be able to establish some traditions and have some time with their own kids. You have to share with the in-laws as well. Don't make your kids feel pulled in directions, in all different directions. It's not nice, and it's not fair. It's not fair to them, and it's not fair to you either, because everybody's going to be kind of stressed and nobody's really going to enjoy it. They're not. Okay. Another question I had comes from a mom who is for the first time experiencing divorce among one of her children. And so she wanted to know how to juggle Christmas and how to deal with Christmas not having her grandson there when everybody else is, because he will be spending Christmas with his daddy. And I am going to say right up front, because we do have that situation in our family as well. Don't ever, ever begrudge your grandchildren time with their father or mother who is no longer a part of your family. Don't ever begrudge them that time, and don't ever begrudge your ex son or daughter-in-law that time, because no matter what, they are your grandchild's parent, and you need to love them if for no other reason than that. You need to be grateful to them and respect them if for no other reason than that. And be glad that that relationship is still there with your grandchild. Um, you need to take a back seat. And it doesn't mean if you have that family time and that grandchild is not there, it doesn't mean you love them any less. It just means that you're not going to always get that time with them. One thing I would suggest, and that I do, I did this before there was the non-custodial parent situation. I did this just to make it easy on my kids for the Christmas season, and for spring break as well, and just to make things lighter, is after the actual Christmas, um, I have um, I have a Nana camp. Okay, so my kids, the ones that are in school, which is most of them now, it's harder to be able to get them on weekends and that sort of thing. So they come over the Christmas holiday and they spend a few days, so that we can do those experiences that would be their gifts if it weren't for COVID. We can do play games, we can bake, we can watch movies, we can go for walks, we can ride bikes, we can just have fun hanging out, reading stories, playing games, just being together, letting them play. I always encourage them to bring some of their Christmas toys and stuff like that so they can play with them and have fun with them. And Macy, one of my granddaughters, she is a game fanatic, and Mac is okay. Her older sister is okay with games, but it's not really her thing. So this is Macy loves being able to bring the new games that she gets for Christmas, so that those of us who like to play games, she can get in lots of game time. So don't don't insist on the day. Um, be flexible. Be flexible. I guess that's a great way to sum it all up. Is be flexible in what you do. And also, another question I had that goes along with the flexibility is food. Um, Judy loves to have the whole meal and everything like that, but she realizes that it's getting to be harder and harder because as her family grows, I mean, she is at the point where her grandkids are getting married. And so she's got grandkids in law, and she said, there's no way that we can all get around the table anymore. And having all of this food with all the fancy dishes that she likes to do, it's just hard to do that, to A, have enough for everyone, and B, set it all up and have room for extra tables and that sort of thing. She says, I think it ends up being so crowded that it's really not worth the effort. So how do I satisfy my need to have a nice traditional meal, but yet not make it end up being a hassle? And for that, I gave her two answers, and I'll give them to you. I would say pare down the traditional meal. If it's really something you want, ask everyone beforehand what their favorite dishes are, and then have those. And you know what? If you've got more than 6 or 8 people in your family, I guarantee you're going to have a lot of repeats. And if you've got, you know, so you're going to please everybody. You're going to please a lot of people in one answer, okay? And then if you can't get them all, just maybe make smaller quantities of several. Because if not everybody likes that one Jello salad, just make half of it, or make it for the next day or something like that for those who are staying overnight. Or you can get around it and things like that, but don't go overboard. And my other answer is don't do it. Okay. Or maybe don't do it every year. We definitely don't do the traditional meal every year. We do everything from taco bars to a traditional meal to a fish fry to soups and sandwiches. It's for me, it's about being together. It's about being with people. I know as a writer, there was a few years ago, I was doing a project on Christmas memories and things like that. And I was looking up some things, just doing a little bit of research, and I came across this thing, and you've probably heard this before, but the love is, and I thought, okay, well, love is Christmas or whatever. But this one little boy, and I think he was 7 when he said it, he said, love is the silence in the room after all the presents have been opened on Christmas Day. And I thought, wow, a 7-year-old little boy knew that. And I think that is what I want to leave you guys with in how you deal with Christmas. Okay. It's not about the extravagant gifts or the fancy food or having, everybody there making sure there's a stocking or whatever. It's this year especially, it's just loving, and it's making sure the people you care about know they're loved. And a handwritten note, words, phone calls of love, and simple little gifts of remembrance is really all that's necessary. So guys, this is it for me. I just want to thank you for listening so far. I will be back in January sometime of 2021, and I am looking forward to amazing things in 2021. And you know what? COVID's still going to be around, but we are going to talk about how to be an amazing and phenomenal family. Mom, spouse, grandparent. I'm going to really hone in on that grandparent. Phenomenal grandparenting and momming and dadding. Using some fun and funky ways to remember how to do that. But as I close, I want to invite you all to check out my website, dnoblewrites.com, and especially my book, Please Pass the Memories, and my book, Love Mama D, because both of those books get to the heart of parenting and grandparenting in unconditional love and in tangible ways, using food and keepsakes and photos and that word tradition, which isn't all bad, and just loving your kids and investing yourself in the people that you love, that you call children and grandchildren and friends. So guys, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, and I will see you in January of 2021.
Thank you, Darla, and thank you for watching.
Thank you.
You've been watching Phenomenal Families with Darla Noble. You can find out more on Facebook, YouTube, and at bloomerboomer.com. If you like it, please like us on Facebook and follow us. Meantime, get to know Bloomer Boomer. And until next time,